Welcome to A Day in the Life. This is me, Tim Santoni, private investigator, running a background screening and a private investigation company here in Lake Forest, California. First, some coffee. So welcome to A Day in the Life. I'm going to run you through many of the things that I do on a daily basis here in the office. First off, I will have an interview today with potential sales, with the salesperson for our background screening division. That will be over Zoom and involve a few people on my team. Stick with me. Okay, checking back in. Just working with a client on a project involving a potential importer of counterfeit goods. So our client registered with ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, and they get seizure notices when there's inspections done at the port. In this case, the client received a seizure notice. They responded and the inspected goods were seized. Based on that seizure notice, we are provided with information on the importer of record. So we went out to one address, and that address proved to be a closed business address, and we were able to do an investigation and develop a new address for the target. So the client now wants us to go out, conduct kind of a discrete inspection, see if there's any visible evidence of our client's product in their warehouse or in their facility for sale, and then potentially engage in conversation to find out more about the target. But this is an example of how a trademark attorney, a brand protection attorney might work with an investigator in the process of protecting and enforcing their IP rights here in the US. Okay, just to catch you up, just got off the phone with a law firm. They're looking to serve someone with a judgment debtor exam. Person's been evasive. They've been trying to serve this person and they can't get her. So when you're serving a judgment debtor exam, you need to serve them personally, and the time and resources to set up a judgment debtor are pretty extensive because you've got to coordinate a lot of different things. So you do not want to miss the deadline to serve. In this case, we've got to serve it, I think, 30 days before the hearing. So we have a little bit of time. So we'll review the work of the prior process server, do some profiling, and see if we can get this out for service. If we can't get them served via normal methods, we'll move to stakeout. Got in usually around noon for lunchtime, or if not, I do it at the end of the day. Today I'm going to do a noontime workout, grab some lunch, so check back with you after that. All right, made it back from workout and lunch. Now time to dig into some emails. All right, checking back in. I was just looking over an email that came in from one of our investigators who's doing a background investigation on an individual who is involved in a alleged sexual assault case. In this case, we have a very common Hispanic name, and that's all we have is we have her name and that she was a contractor working at a specific employer. In this situation, using multiple databases, multiple data points, trying to make discrete calls to verify one other identifier aside from a name is crucial in order to develop a profile so that we can conduct a background investigation to include civil, criminal, bankruptcies, judgments, liens, driving record, you name it. We need to have verified name, identifiers, a social, date of birth, address, so we can work backwards and make sure we're profiling the right person. In this situation, we're probably gonna have to go back to the client and ask for a little bit more information, because we have a very common name, and the only way we were able to identify the subject was based on an address that's located in close proximity to where she was allegedly employed at the time of the events. Wanted to share one of the cases that we're working on bidding out to a client. We have a client who's looking to determine if there's particular factories in China or exporters in China that are exporting goods to Australia. In this case, we're looking to see what publicly available databases there are, what proprietary databases, and how we may be able to link the shipment of goods from specific manufacturers and or exporters in China to Australia. And this has to do with some diversion and counterfeit potential activity. But when we're talking about China to the US, there's something called a Peers report, which is import-export records for goods that are shipped via boat only. If it goes via air, it wouldn't apply. But you can see importer of record, exporter of record, and also sometimes you're able to get the classifications of goods. So if you're able to identify someone in the US who's in possession of counterfeit, infringing, or diverted goods, if you're able to check the import-export records and you see that they're actually bringing them in, you know you've made your way to the top of the food chain because they're the ones actually bringing them in. These are also the people that show up on seizure notices that ICE would come across, as I mentioned before, on the other case that we're working on. So just a heads up if you're worried about people bringing stuff in. There's also services like Import Genius and others that buy and sell these records, or you can go to an investigator who specializes it and they can get access to the records for you as well. We're working with a client who's looking to serve an evasive target. When we're serving legal documents, we need to first figure out what it is we're serving. Are we serving a document that requires personal appearance, like a subpoena for a witness to appear at trial, or a subpoena to hear at a deposition, or a document for someone to appear at a judgment debtor exam? Any documents that are being served and require personal appearance must be personally served, which that means they must be handed to the subject directly. Subservice is not an option. In order to personally serve someone, you need to confirm them present, get within speaking distance, let them know the nature of what's happening, and get them served, and that will work. So if you go up to a screen door and the person says that they're not going to come out, but you get within speaking distance, you confirm it's them by their name, their photo, the description, or a vehicle, you can drop service. If you're serving a summons, a complaint, a lawsuit, small claims order, anything that's that doesn't require personal appearance, subservice is okay, which means you make diligent efforts to serve the target, the defendant, which could be an individual or business, at a location where they live, work, or receive mail. And then you need to verify that before you go out. After you make 3 attempts, typically outside of 24 hours at varying times of the day and night, gives you the ability to subserve, which means you can leave the documents in the presence of someone over the age of 18 who lives at the location, informing them the nature of the situation. And then upon completion of the proof of service, you must mail a copy to the address to complete service. And you'd indicate this information on the proof of service as you prepare that. So when you're going to locate and serve an individual as an investigator, it's super important that you understand what you're serving, because it will dictate the methodology, the research that needs to go in, and then kind of how you're going to work that out. First step for us is always kind of conducting our pre-workup before we go out in the field. If the subject's evasive or not home, it's possible we convert to a stakeout. That means setting up in the early morning or late evening for a period of time to see if we can catch them coming and going and get the subject if they're truly evasive. This can happen if they're aware of a serve, or maybe they have a ring camera, or they're just super suspicious. Stakeout might be necessary in order to effect service. So just a little tidbit when you're looking to locate and serve somebody, a couple of strategies and tactics that need to keep in mind. Just got off a phone call with one of our contract surveillance agents that's working on a project for us, just going over the details. One important thing to think about when you're working with a surveillance investigator, whether you're working with them directly, or a law firm, insurance company, or you're working with a contract surveillance type of operative, clear instructions are really important, and having a backup plan, making sure that as much information on your subject is provided, description, pictures, vehicles, possible addresses, behaviors, job, anything like that could be useful to a surveillance investigator, help to optimize the case in the event that things staying. In this situation, it's a pretty unique case that we're working on, and it's going to involve 2 different operatives to kind of set up and make this all happen, and also making sure that they're on the same page as far as who's doing what and where, and how they can communicate when they're on site, because things on surveillance often do go a little bit crazy, and you got to be prepared for that. So if you're working with a surveillance investigator, more is better. Work it up. This is why we always recommend at least a 24-hour window to provide for time to work up cases, to develop vehicles, develop a profile, so that surveillance can be executed as successfully as possible. All right, quick tip here. Wanted to get you up to speed on what I'm working on today. So a lot of sales calls and interview, got in a workout. Now I just want to kind of give a couple tips here. So anyone out there that's in the services space, or anyone in business space, I think LinkedIn is a super important tool to be used. I use LinkedIn almost every single day. I use it to connect with potential clients, existing clients, comment on my clients and friends' posts, and use it to post. And I try to get out at least 1 post a week with some piece of content, whether that's a video, an article, an update, some useful piece of content. But also it's a great account management tool, because one of our clients leaves, especially in the legal space or in the HR space, when they move from firm to firm, if you're connected with them on LinkedIn, usually you'll get an update. You can congratulate them, connect with them, and understand where they've gone. As if that client moves, your business has likely moved, and you need to be aware of that. I think being proficient on LinkedIn is super, super important, and it's a great way to stay connected for free. I use the free version, not the Sales Navigator or the premium version, to stay up to speed with clients. And so I think that's where the attention is now. Gary Vaynerchuk, someone that I follow quite frequently, talks about it all the time. It's where the attention is now, and it's free. So you got to get on there, and you got to get in front of those eyeballs before either it gets diluted and you don't get the full reach, which is starting to happen on LinkedIn, or it's a paid search or paid ads become a requirement in order to get the same reach you were getting before. And again, my videos and posts, the exposure has gone down a little bit, but a good post, timed right, done well, still is getting tremendous reach on LinkedIn, which I think is very, very useful. So if you're not there, get on LinkedIn, update your profile, complete it. LinkedIn has an algorithm that goes through and kind of assesses your profile, make sure it's complete. Get out there, post at least once a week, engage, connect with others, and comment on others' posts so that you're visible on the LinkedIn space. So just a little tip on general LinkedIn tips. So one frustration as a business owner are systems and software that are always challenging in our business. We use a variety of software and systems to track things. So as of a few moments ago, what I was working on is integration between our investigation case management software and our accounting software, and some glitches as it relates to mapping of the information. And then I'm always interrupted by a phone call. So yeah, just another thing to deal with before I sign off. Okay, so as you can see, I've left the office. I'm in the car heading home, take my daughter to volleyball. The good news is that I'll be able to drop her off down there and then do some more work and continue my day. But the flexibility of being a business owner, it has its benefits and it also has its challenges. Okay, we picked up the little McCall and we're heading over to volleyball. We're gonna get some clips of her setting and hitting hard in there today, right?
Yes.
What are you gonna work on today?
Hitting, serving. See ya with my clips.